This is John Coleman from Macrosoft. Thank you for joining our webinar series, the first in 3. We will be meeting at 1 o'clock today, Tuesday, in 1 week, and then in 2 weeks. So for the next 3 Tuesdays, we'll be meeting at 1 o'clock for a very quick 30-minute briefing on migrating from Dynamics AX to Dynamics 365. Today, we have Tahir Masood joining us, who will be delivering a presentation. Tahir is with CalSoft. CalSoft and Macrosoft are strategic partners who work with our clients to help them in migrating from Dynamics AX to Dynamics 365. All participants are muted to avoid people putting us on all hold music or having barking dogs in the background or whatever other noise. If you have a question, I am the host, again, John Coleman. You can type your question to me through the chat box, which looks like a little bubble above somebody's head that you can use. And I will be tracking questions and asking questions on your behalf to Tahir at the end of our presentation. We have about 20 to 30 people on the line. People may obviously join in and out throughout. We do have the mute on for people who join in and out. So without further introduction, I'm going to turn the session over to Tahir, who will walk us through updating from Dynamics AX to Dynamics 365. Again, please ask any questions by typing them to me, and I'll make sure that they're asked at the end of the session. If you want to make your screen full screen, there is a little double arrow button in the right-hand corner of the PowerPoint slide that will hide the frame and just make the slide the full screen for those who wish to do that. Thank you. Tahir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, John, for the introductions. As probably you can see on your screens, the title of the presentation is Updating from Dynamics AX to Dynamics 365. We are going to discuss the project methodology and the key decision-making attributes that are required during the thought process that goes within the heads of the stakeholders, whether they are technical stakeholders or business stakeholders or both. With that, I'm going to jump to the agenda slide. I hope everyone is able to see the screen that I'm sharing. If they're unable to see it, they can quickly fix it during the agenda slide read through. We are going to first discuss what we do, and I will jump back to John for that. Then we are going to touch it on the reasons why to upgrade, followed by Microsoft Dynamics roadmap, then and how. Microsoft Dynamics products have changed over the period of time, and we need to go through that to eliminate any confusion, because we have a variety of people on this call. Some of them are from technical background, knowing much more details, while others would like to learn how Dynamics have changed over a period of time. Then we will move to upgrade paths and the project methodologies. The second to last point, we'll discuss the conventional ways or the more standard ways which are available in the market, which most of the partners are following, and that will be followed by our project methodology to upgrade, which is the best practices based on our experiences and our customer interactions that we have slightly tweaked based upon the earlier methodologies which are out there in the market. Moving to the next slide, I will give the floor back to John to discuss what our professional services are and what we do.
I just want to be very brief. Both Macrosoft and CalSoft, having been partners for a number of years, are Microsoft Gold partners and have been so each for over a dozen years. We strategically partner to bring the best in class from both of our companies working with our clients. We do things such as Office 365, Microsoft Azure, as you're looking at cloud platforms, private and hybrid infrastructure setups. Specifically, what we're going to talk about today is CRM, ERP area, and where we're talking about is our Dynamics practice. We also do custom development with our DevOps process using the Agile methodology, and we have complete project management and enterprise-wide applications, doing even such things as managed services and teams. So as you have needs in other areas, we're certainly here to help you, but this is not a sales pitch today. This is an educational program. We just want to make you aware that we are here to help you should your needs dictate that you're looking for a partner. So that's the end of the commercial. Tahir, you can continue with the education.
Thank you, John, again for a quick run-through on the services. Most of the people who are here just wanted to, I believe that they need to hear that, how the other services complement the Dynamics area, and specifically the Dynamics 365 area, because the cloud and Azure are the integral part of the planning and deployment strategies for the Dynamics 365. All right, moving to the next slide. This slide is just put in. I just put the slide there to talk about one of the most major element that is impacting the world, which is out there. That is the whole adoption to the cloud, the whole cloud story. Everyone is now talking about it. Every organization is having their hands full with the strategy that involves cloud, or at least they are either migrating to it, or they are planning to migrate to it, or they have implemented their cloud migration strategy in their upcoming plans. So, these are the journal information from IDC. They say that 35% of the top 25 companies in every industry will get disrupted in the next 3 years. You might not be from the top, not the top 35% of the top 25 companies, but we all know that, it is a ripple effect, that what happens on top, it just boils down to small and mid-sized companies, to even small businesses, to follow what the market leaders are doing. And 80% of the organizations will commit to cloud architectures by 2018. I think we are not just saying based on our experience as Microsoft Gold partners, but one of the biggest drivers of the modern era cloud, which is the infrastructure as a service, software as a service, and platform as a service coming together, is Office 365. That has triggered a lot of decision making in the heads of IT managers, even technical and technology consultants and engineers who are working even on Dynamics. And they need to maximize Office 365 investments done by a customer. They need to integrate that, and so on and so forth. 85% of the leaders report that cloud is accelerating digital transformation of their organizations. So yes, because cloud is not just limited to the IT departments anymore. It is now widely used by end users as well. They are becoming more and more aware of cloud solutions through their social media, through their other their mobile devices, which are connected to cloud platforms and cloud services. So the overall requirement to work from anywhere and to access the data from anywhere has a growing need within the organizations, and people are now have more trends to work from home, to work on the go. They want to see data reports on their mobile devices for quick decision making, and cloud is the only platform that can really accelerate these kind of requirements and bring the value that can be delivered to the users. As IT managers, as future IT managers, as IT directors or future business users, you need to factor these requirements from the user in while you're planning and implementing your future solutions, including Dynamics. I just moved to the next slide. I just wait for a few seconds, because I understand it will take some seconds for the slide to appear on your screens. So having waited for a few seconds, I will now move to the next slide, which is why upgrade. And one of the biggest reasons for the why upgrade is the cloud, which I just discussed before. Most of the companies, they are considering cloud. They are looking at the investment opportunities that they can maximize their investments on their infrastructure. They can maximize the productivity out of it. Is one of the core reasons that why companies are considering this move. The second biggest reason that we have come across is the life cycle. Most of the Dynamics AX solutions have reached their end of life or will be reaching their end of life in April, which is in a few days from now. April 2018 has been announced for Dynamics AX 2012 to reach its end of life, and after that there will not be any support and upgrades that will be available. Having said that, many companies might opt to choose to continue their deployment, but with a cloud element, with the new features out there, with the integration requirements, I think if they are not planning to upgrade, at least they should start factoring in that they might need to start planning in next quarter or so for this upgrade. One of the biggest reasons to upgrade is integrations. The modern Dynamics 365 provides seamless integration with your productivity solutions, especially Office 365. You can do a bunch of work. You can literally jump over a lot of back and forth information over the emails. Rather, you can connect between the two systems from a reporting perspective, from collaboration perspective, from productivity perspective to get the maximum results out of it. And last but not least is intelligence. We all know that with the modern cloud solution, especially Dynamics 365, which is backed up by the overall reporting platforms and business intelligence platform like Power BI and Power Pivot, the reporting capability of the new solution has increased tremendously. And the global need from a people perspective has also increased, that they want to see good reports. And the reason that it was triggered is that because there's a big exploration of data. A lot of data is coming into the systems. People need a lot of good insights into the system, and reporting and business intelligence is helping them do that, which is at the end of the day helping them to grow their business effectively and perform the task efficiently. So these are the core reasons, among the many reasons which are out there, that why you need to upgrade, or at least why you need to start planning for an upgrade. I will just move to the next slide and again wait for a few seconds before it gets populated on your screen. All right, so Dynamics, this is a Dynamics roadmap from a historical perspective, and I just skipped a few generations here and there in between, but this is how it looks like. Before 365, we used to have Dynamics CRM, Dynamics AX, Project Madeira, GP, Navision, NFL out there. The early stage of cloud where we saw the Dynamics migration done by Microsoft is when Dynamics CRM was converted into Dynamics for sales, customer service, field service, and project service automation. AX was converted into Dynamics 365 for operations. Madeira was converted into financials, and Great Plains Navision also continued as it is. And what Dynamics 365 is now today as a package solution is Microsoft Dynamics 365 Enterprise Edition and Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Editions, which is representing the Project Madeira part from a business edition perspective alone. But Dynamics 365 as an enterprise edition has become a big modular application. You can certainly roll out the modules that you want to. You have pay-as-you-go model from a cloud perspective, and all the benefits of the modern era ERP on the cloud. Microsoft has shared that over the last 2 to 3 years, they have an aggregated growth of more than 400% on the Dynamics side, and we are seeing the results of it by the number of queries and responses that we are getting from the customers. From my experience, people who were not considering Dynamics 3 to 4 years back in industries like utilities, maybe biotech, pharma, are now very seriously evaluating Dynamics in that industry part for their manufacturing solutions, for their line of business solutions, even for their complicated financial solutions. So over the period of time, the solution has enhanced its capabilities, its functionalities, its reliability, its relevance to compliance and security. So Dynamics 365, in my view, is certainly should be on the cards for all the people who are looking for a good ERP solution now. With that, I would like to move to the next slide. In this slide, I would like to discuss the upgrade paths, coming back to the crux of the presentation that we have, the core area. So majorly, in our experience, we have seen there are two major upgrade paths. So that includes the migration, which means that you have to migrate from your old system to a new system with all the baggage that you have in your old system. That includes data, that includes customized code, and that includes your transactional, all type of information. And you generally use some sort of a technology and tools to do that. And the other option that people mostly are considering is the re-implementation, that they start the Dynamics 365 all from scratch and implement it as a new solution. Both of these paths, they have all the advantages and disadvantages. There is no single winner. Many companies choose one path, many choose the other path. It literally boils down to technical decisions, functional decisions, budget, cost, time, and convenience, which I have seen as the biggest factor. when it comes to upgrades. So, and much of the issues which I have seen during the decision making involves a deployment scenario. Somebody is looking for cloud, other look on-prem with their local business data on site, other look at the hybrid scenario where they use cloud and edge as a technology to go and upgrade this part. But in a nutshell, there are two major upgrade paths. One is migration, which is from the legacy system to a new Dynamics 365 using the tools and technologies for migration, and the second one is the re-implementation. We are going to discuss the two methodologies that are conventionally used in the market for these two upgrade paths in the next slides. Okay, this is the migration methodology which most of the people they are using. It starts simply with the tools that analyze the system. You do the data cleanup in that. So, you identify the features. Then you move to the execution phase where you do the code upgrade and develop some new code and data upgrade. Then you move to the validation phase where you validate your migration, and then you move to the go live phase and monitor how the system works. This is pretty much one of the simplest way of doing things. Apart from the fact that whatever wrong that was happening in your old system will now be part of the new system. It is just like you are having an infection and you just gave some blood, and that blood is transfused into some other patient, so other patient will receive the same infection because it runs in your blood. So this is the migration methodology: analyze, execute, validate, go live, which is conventionally used. It has a lot of detail in it. We can discuss it offline if you have any questions around that how this particular tool migration is done. So in a nutshell, this is the crux of the tool-based migration methodology. Moving to the next slide. I will talk a little bit about the two different architectures which are out there. One is for Dynamics 2009, AX 2009, and the other one is for AX 2012. 2009 is on the left, where you start with a database, you extract the data to some file. It can be an Excel file, an XML file. Then you use the data migration tool. Then you create the package which has the code upgrades and stuff like that. You do a lot of mapping during that process as well for the transactional data. And then you move it to Dynamics 365 for operations. On the right side, you have AX 2012. In most of the cases, you don't need to do a manual data migration. You just use a migration upgrade tool. The LCS project tool, which is out there, you can use that tool. That is going to take your transactional data, master data, and configurational data along with your partner code, ISV code, and customer code to the new Dynamics 365. So this is you just have a Dynamics 365 out of the box installation or solution out there. You just use those tools and migrate that information, and you have your new system on a new platform up and running. But this migration will not again stop you from having whatever issues that you were facing, or how you can really optimize your Dynamics 365 implementation from a new updated feature and collaboration perspective. The re-implementation methodology, where you implement Dynamics from scratch, assuming that you're already running Dynamics in Evolve, envisioning business assessment, degree of threat, data assessment, and next step phases. You can go through a cloud readiness assessment. You can analyze some data. You do the migration after the new features are implemented and you have tested them, and then you just take the steps from that point on with a go live scenario. So this is again a re-implementation conventional methodology that is out there. I would like to skip to the best practice that we have based on our learning, which combines most of the elements of these two practices, but put them in an order where they can be really effective for the customers, and we have seen that how they can be really effective for customers. So here is the approach before I jump to the methodology part. The approach that we follow is envisioning workshop and demo to begin with, where we talk about Dynamics 365 as a standalone project, knowing that people in that workshop have used Dynamics previous versions, but we would like to give them a fresh perspective on Dynamics 365. There has been some changes. There has been some optimizations. There are new features out there. There are new ways of looking at those features, and we talk about those in the envisioning and workshop demo. That is followed by a technical upgrade assessment, because most of that conversation at the end of the session where people start complaining about their existing deployment. So we start taking that into factor, that what kind of issues you are facing, how a technical upgrade can happen, what version of Dynamics you are using, and a lot of information and process that runs around that. That is followed by the functional assessment again, because we don't believe that the initial functional assessment is absolute 100% fit. When you're using a solution like Dynamics, over the period of time, your requirements changes, and probably you need a new mapping exercise for the functional assessment that needs to be done. And that has really proven great results for our customers and has helped us really bring the value, because they were looking at a certain feature from one angle, but when you start doing a functional assessment based on the envisioning exercise and a technical upgrade, they entirely have a new perspective of looking at things. So they might optimize the process here and there. They might bring a new feature that shortcuts something and bring the impact out of it. And that is obviously followed by the whole implementation plan that we come and delivers. So the output of this particular exercise is an implementation plan based on the 3 phases: envisioning, technical upgrade, and functional assessment. And from an implementation plan perspective, we now start the methodology, the best practice methodology or the recommended methodology that we follow for the Dynamics upgrade. And it is 4 simple steps: planning, migration, execution, and validation. In planning, we first start with a decision around upgrade versus re-implementation. It is followed by the project plan. We review the customization. We migrate the code. We migrate the data. We migrate the customized components, whether it is your local code, just local information. We create test cases. Reporting and BI is the biggest part that we spend time on. Then we run an upgrade in the execution part. We capture timelines. So we capture the timings at how the execution is going on. We capture errors. We create a go-live checklist. We upgrade the BI components again based on after the migration and during the execution. The BI is one of the biggest area where people literally come up to us and say that, we need these new reports, we need to utilize these new features, because the visualization is great, the decision making can improve, the overall solution impact can grow bigger from just running in a couple of offices where finance and procurement team is sitting to literally boiling that information down to worker level and up to the C-level, where the C-level people are having a real-time visualization of how the things are working. And that is followed by the validation, where key business processes, technical work stream, functional work streams are tested, they are compared, and then we compare results for a desired output that the customer is looking for. So this is the recommended best methodology that we have come across. You can see that we have shaped it down to a very precise task, because we believe that if we apply the methodology here and the approach in the previous slide, the results are tremendous and the customer value is gained. Rather than oscillating between technical and migration and the re-implementation and then testing and then failing again, we believe that by a quick assessment, by a quick envisioning exercise, most of these issues can be resolved, because at the end of the day, it is the people who are going to use the system, rather than system coming in and then making sure that people start using it the way it is. So involving people more, or investing a little bit time on people to begin with, in the approach that I talked about in the previous slide, has proven the recipe for success for us. So this is where my presentation ends. I am 3 minutes over time. I was hoping to keep last 8 to 10 minutes for the Q&A session. I will now jump to John to share any questions and answers that he might have.
Tahir, thank you very much. That was excellent. It was a tremendous amount of information in a very abbreviated period of time, just 20 minutes to get across a lot of important points. And that's why we're having 3 webinars, so the next 2 will be the following 2 Tuesdays. During the chat with the people online, I did receive 3 questions. I'm not sure if we'll have time to get through all 3, but we'll at least start with the first. So the first question I received is, if we are using Dynamics 2009 with custom code integrated and we want to migrate to 365, do we need to do it in 2 steps, moving to 2012 first before going to 365?
The short and the quick answer is no. You can move from Dynamics 2009 directly to Dynamics 365. Unlike the SharePoint upgrade that people usually do, where they have to move from a 2007 version to 2010 and then move forward. But At the very same time, the Dynamics 2009 custom code needs to be looked into in detail to avoid any conflict. So you have to really work on your post-deployment checklist and validation system to ensure that whatever code that you migrate is migrated using the right guidelines and the right tools, and the results are appropriate.
Excellent, thank you. So you can go directly from 2009 to 365. That's good news. The second question I received are, what are the biggest issues you have faced in a tech migration where you just migrated the old system to 365? So I guess they're saying, what obstacles have you faced and how have you overcome them?
Okay, so whenever we are in an implementation, we divide the challenges into two parts. One is the system challenges and the other is the people challenges. So most of the challenges that we face is around the people part, because they assume that they are going to migrate from an old system to a new system, and by picking a tech migration part, they just assume that all their old system-related issues or data-related issues just vanish away. So I always say or use a word that garbage in and garbage out from a data perspective. So if you are not fine with your existing data, if you are not optimizing it, if you are not doing the SQL configuration right for it, moving to a new system will not really help. It is going to bring the same issues with regards to data to you. However, there have been cases where the technical migration has been seamless when the data and the SQL configuration has been done well. So it literally boils down to what your previous system entails and how efficient it is and how convenient you are making the results coming out of.
Okay, we have a couple more questions that have come in also. Let's see here. Is there a release date for on-premise Dynamics 365 Enterprise? So it's you have to read the tea leaves into the future of Microsoft when they're going to have a on-prem release of 365.
This is a question where Microsoft can actually come in and talk about it. But I believe that from a 365 perspective, with the whole cloud motion that is going on, if you want to have an on-prem thing, the only solution probably as of now is to have a hybrid approach where you keep your business data on site. I'm not aware of any on-prem release of Dynamics 365 Enterprise Edition.
And I would say that as a whole, Microsoft is pushing everything towards the cloud. That is their general premise as a company.
Yeah, I mean, it is not just Microsoft. I mean, if you talk about IBM, if you talk about Oracle, I mean, they all are now just pushing cloud, and this is sort of a global trend which is going on. So maybe if we see 5-10 years from now when everything starts coming back to on-prem, it is like a pendulum thing. So we might see these versions, boiling it down. But I think that from an Azure perspective, they are releasing an App Fabric scenario for the on-prem data centers, which means that you are going to literally replicate a lot of Azure applications on-prem by deploying the App Fabric layer. That might include Dynamics 365 Enterprise as well.
All right, we're about 2 minutes left, and I have 5 questions left. So I'm just going to pick one of them here. Are there any technical guidebooks that you can recommend for upgrading or migrating?
There are a bunch of guides. The best solution that I would recommend is TechNet. Microsoft has a TechNet website which has a lot of content on it. But we can share with the attendees a couple of options which they can go through.
All right. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. We did say that maybe we could slip one more question in. Let me slip one more in because we have 120 seconds left. If we choose to re-implement over a technology migration, can the two systems run in parallel until cutover?
Yeah, I mean, this is a question that most of the organizations, they ask that we want to run the existing system till the new system is all up and ready. This certainly can be done. It is a great approach, but it requires 2 times the size of the team, even more than that, because then you're running 2 systems. You have to have double entry going on. The GL and all the balances that are going to go from one system to another are going to balance. and keeping an optimization going at the same time becomes a challenge. So yes, you can do that, but it is going to cost a lot. We don't recommend it because then the old system will just never stop running, and people just stick to that.
Okay, thank you very much. There is a question around government entities. Did you? Okay. Since working with government entities, it's hard to migrate to the cloud. So this is the last question because we're really running out of time.
All right. So I think government entities are a bit reluctant to cloud. I think they're mostly because of their internal policies rather than literally evaluating what cloud has to offer. I think with the level of security, compliance, and regulatory implementations that the cloud has, the government should be even more comfortable running it on the cloud rather than running it on-prem. There are a bunch of examples where a lot of people are using it, and one of the biggest common sense example is that companies like Microsoft, Amazon, all these big giants, they can afford to hire a $3 million a year security expert rather than government itself, and a much bigger team surrounding that expert that is going to make sure that everything is running smoothly. So policy, from a government policy perspective, there is nothing that we can do about it, but it is all about education, that how you can educate your customer well on that.
Okay. I want to be respectful of people's time. We said that we would keep these to 30-minute sessions, so with that I am going to end today's session, but remind everybody that this is a series of programs where we're going to be talking again in 1 week. And again, with a brief commercial, Macrosoft and CalSoft are here to help you should you have a need and are looking for additional support. With that as an end, I'm going to thank everybody, and we will be ending this session.
Thank you very much.